All right, guys, so we're going to talk a little bit about place value today. You have been studying your place value chart at home. We're going to go into a little bit more detail. We're going to talk about some vocabulary words and decimals. So you're going to have a copy of this exact same place value journal in your Google Classroom that you'll be able to go back and watch this video. You can pause it and you can type these things into your journal as well. Okay, so we're going to start with just understanding base 10 and place value. It says, I can recognize that in a multi-digit number, a digit in one place represents 10 times as much as it represents in the place to its right, and 1/10 of what it represents in the place to its left. So first we're going to start with just a little bit of vocabulary. So standard form, that's just the usual way of writing numbers. So standard form would be 345, 19, 6,328, just the regular way of writing the numbers. Expanded form is when we, write a number to show the value of each digit. It's shown as a sum of each digit multiplied by its place value. Fix that. So, for example, our number 345 is equal to 3 100, 3 times 100 plus 4 times 10 plus 5 times 1. Okay, most of you have probably seen this written out as 300 plus 40 plus 5. So both of those equal to the same thing, but in the upper one, we are showing the place value as well. And word form, that is where we write the number as we would say it. For example, 300, 345. Okay. And then we have a couple more vocabulary words. We have digit, which is any numeral or number from 0 to 9, especially when forming parts of a number. And then the value is how much something is worth. So each number, when we had up here, the numbers are just the numerals, the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the value is that 100, 10, or 1,000. Okay, and then our last term is going to be place value, which is the value represented by a digit in a number based on its position in the number. Okay, so as we move on to the next slide, you'll kind of start to see how some of these terms fit in. So here you see the place value chart. This is similar to what you have been studying at home. You see that all of the place values, they're labeled across the top. And now we're going to start looking at decimals. So decimals and fractions go together. If we look at our fraction down here, it is 1/10. We see that this is the 10th place. So we would just type the number 1 right there. So this represents 1/10. As we move on, we're going to build on this number. So on our next slide, we still have the 1/10. So our 1 is going to go here. And then if we look at this next one, we see that this is a 100 right here. Those are 100 little squares. And then 20 of them are shaded in. So we have 20 hundredths. So our number is going to be 0 and 12 hundredths. Okay, so we're looking at both of the numbers together and we're going to name it whatever this last value is. So 0 and 12 hundredths, or just 12 hundredths. So we're going to continue to build onto this one. We've got our fraction of 1/10. We said that this here represents 20 hundredths. And then our last one, the fraction says 3 thousandths. So if we're going to write this, well, here, so we start with our 0 and our decimal. So 123 thousandths. Now we're going to move on to a couple of activities where you're going to be filling in some of these on your own slides. So tenths in decimal and fraction form. Okay, so back to this. So we're going to talk about tenths in decimal and fraction form. So let's look at the picture. The question says, how many pinky toes do you see? So we see just 2 pinky toes. We know that we have 10 toes all together. So our fraction is that part of the whole, or 2 tenths. Let me see if I make that a little bit bigger so we can see it. Oh, wait. Having some technical difficulties. There we go. So 2 tenths. So 2 tenths of your toes are pinky toes. Now we're going to put that in here. So this first number behind the decimal is our tenths place. So I just made that whole thing disappear. Try this again. So here we go. Okay. So first number behind the decimal is the tenths place. So we're going to make this. So that is 2 tenths. That is a teeny, teeny, tiny 2. There we go. Now we got it a little bit bigger. There should not be. Y'all know my struggles with the computer. I don't know why there is a decimal behind that number. Let me get rid of it. There we go. Because we know the decimal is in front of it. So we could, if we wanted to, we can fill in the rest of this with zeros. But are the zeros behind the digit necessary? And do they hold any value? So when you go into your own place value journal to fill in some of these numbers and finish up the activities on the rest of the slides, you're going to answer the question on slide number 8. And then you're going to go on and look through and you're going to explore the next couple of slides. So slide number 9 just has a graphic representation to kind of show you how decimals and fractions are the same. So if you look, again, we have 100. That is our whole. And we have 30 of them filled in. So that is our fractional part. So as a decimal, we have 30 100ths. So if we look here, you notice there are 2 zeros behind the 1 for 100. So our number goes 2 places behind the decimal to make the hundredths place. Here we're going to look at the thousandths. So it works the same way. There are 3 zeros in a thousand. 1, 2, 3. And there are 3 decimal places in the thousandths place. So we're going to put our 1 here. Let's make that so we can see it. Make that bigger. Okay, and here so that we have 11. Nope. So we have 11 thousandths. Now where zeros aren't necessary at the back end, the 0 here is necessary to make sure that we are in the thousandths place. Okay, you're going to go into your own journal in Google Classroom and you're going to answer these next 2 questions. So here, this one wants you to write a fraction in the top and the same decimal below. And then same thing right here. You're writing the fraction. You're going to delete all this out and write a fraction. And in the bottom, you're going to write the decimal. And you're going to continue on to the next 2 slides. So this one just gives you an example of how you are writing this in expanded form, standard form, and word form. It has it all broken down in your place value chart. And you're going to do that on this slide. So your number and your place value chart are up here. You're going to fill in the values below, and then you're going to write it out in word form, expanded form, and standard form. Now, when you have your own place value journal open, you can always pull this video back up, put it to where you need it to be, pause it after you have listened to the instructions so that if you have questions, that will help you out. And then again, if you still have questions, you can always type a private comment in Google Classroom that'll get sent directly to your teacher so that we can help you through any issues that you may have.